everybody, Master Sukuri coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. Believe it or not, this is episode number 26 of my podcast. I was telling you guys in a couple podcasts ago that just getting past 10 is a pretty big step. 20 is a huge step. And here I am, and I am on fire, and I am having the best time of my life. Thank you all for supporting. This week, I found out that you can have a 7-day trial of Patreon. So I've made it available to everybody to sign up for a 7-day free trial with no obligation. Let your friends know, let people know, comment, and help me to grow this page, right? Because the more that I can do is the more I can do for everybody and the beauty of capoeira. Today, I got a request contra Mestre Vaquero, who's actually in Thailand right now. And he asked me to answer a couple of questions. And these questions are things I talked a lot about in my first and second book. So I'll have to jump back and forth between that and how I feel about it more and more each and every day. So today's topic is pretty interesting. He asked me, what's the role and significance of a mestre for the community? And what significance does the community hold for the mestre? Okay, let's get into the first question. First and foremost, in Path of Capoeira, I talked about how we need to be very careful how we think about the word mestre. So the word mestre comes from Portuguese and translated directly means master. And when we think about it outside of Brazil, we tend to think of master in a very high regards. Like we would think of a karate master or a kung fu master. We expect them to have this really high level of not only teaching awareness, but also a high level of, let's say, emotional intelligence, right? And this means that they're able to communicate through rational and caring feeling to express themselves, to lead a group, and to move forward. Unfortunately, I've seen that most of the cases that we deal with capoeira, the word mastery doesn't actually equate as a master. It just means somebody who's been long-term or proficient in the art. And for me, how I'm going to use the term when I answer this question is in the way I use it as an American, which I think is better because it elevates the term for a mastery higher internationally. So when I say the word mastery, I'm talking about somebody who is dedicated not only to the art, but dedicated to in a way that their heart and their mind are open to changes and evolution, but also has the integrity to maintain the fundamentals, traditions, and spirituality of capoeira. So for me, being a mestre, I feel I have to do all of these things constantly so that I can be the type of mestre that I want to be, a type of mestre that leads by example. And this is very important. And I can only talk about how it affects me here in Japan because each mestre or maestra might have a different experience on how they developed, how they interact with their community, and how they created their position in their community or their position in the capoeira world. So to answer the first question, what's the role and significance of a mestre for the community? Okay, in Japan, a person who is a sensei or a higher level teacher, they're kind of expected to be someone who knows everything. And this is something that I've seen happen a lot here, that when people who are teachers in anything that's non-tangible, like capoeira, if they don't know, they're very likely to invent because they don't want to say they don't know because they're supposed to know everything. Me, I take a lot of humility, and I know that I don't know everything. I only know what I do and what I can research and bring into my life experience, right? So being humble and saying, like, I don't know. I'm the first one to tell people in my community, if I don't know something, I'll learn it or I'll ask someone who does. If it's a capoeira question, I can always ask mestres that I know who are a lot older and have a lot more experience and a lot more time in capoeira, and I can ask them for mentorship and for advice. So doing that creates an image of what you represent as a capoeira mestre to your community. So as I think about my position is as a mestre in my community, what I represent to my community and the significance I have. Here in Japan, Japanese are generally my students. Most of my students are Japanese, especially kids. The parents are the community that see me as a foreigner who lives in Japan long term, doing positive things for the Japanese community. So I'm doing positive things for this community that I'm in, right here in Magome, in Otaku, in Tokyo, in Japan. So what I do for my community is that they have a trust in me that I am doing the best that I can as a person, and especially here in Japan, where education is so important, best as not only an educated person, but someone who is dedicated to their art. No one can say that I have never been passionate or dedicated to my art. And honestly, I don't really hear other people talking about other teachers that way in Asia. They're a capoeira teacher, but no one ever says, oh, that person is very dedicated or passionate, because your community has to feel that. Many years ago, a mestre once told me that the way to become a mestre was to, you're doing your projects, you're teaching, you're doing things, you become a part of the community, and after many years, people from the community, not the other capoeiristas, but the people from the community start calling you a mestre. For example, a local lawyer, a local politician, a local doctor, other teachers from the community, maybe the principal of a school, they start calling you a mestre because they recognize the lifetime work and dedication to being a mestre. And I think this is important because that's why one reason I say I don't think you can be a mestre under the age of 30. You can be a mestre in the Brazilian sense where you get a cordon or a belt and a rank, but you can't be a mestre in life because at least until you're 30, I just don't see how you've had enough experience in life to be able to be a master and tell anyone. Of course, people could say it's much older, but I would say for a technical level in capoeira, the earliest you should be a mestre in our group is 30. Now, does that mean that a 30-year-old is ready? No, it just means that's the minimum age I have for me to formar someone mestre, and that would have to be somebody who grew along with me from probably 4 years old, starting capoeira and never quit and kept going. Now, that significance of what's integrity, and that significance of leadership, and that significance of dedication and passion is what the community expects of you, especially if you do that. There was a capoeira teacher here. I haven't talked to him in many years, a Japanese capoeira teacher. When I first came, he had just started out, and he was graduated the first mestre, and I knew that his mestre was like really in it for making a bigger group and getting contributions from the group here in Japan for his life in Brazil. I don't know the backstory, but I just heard rumors, and I don't want to get into rumors because I don't know what they are, but it goes along with a lot of what happens in the capoeira world. So he finally, after what seems like about 19, 18 years, moved to another city, left that group that he had to pay monthly fees to every year. And I'm wondering if the pressure was just a lot. So he moved to another city and started another group of capoeira. So he had built this giant group and left it. I don't know what that means for the students of that group or how they feel, but for me, that means a lot about for him, it's a good thing, because he finally got out of the web that of being exploited, and I directly say it's exploitation, and being able to start his own new life. Congratulations. However, on the other side, for the community that he created here, it might feel like, oh, he left or he decided to do something else. So the most important aspect, after everything I said about what's the significance of a master to a community, the most important thing is stability. The community has to feel like you're stable and you're going to do this. Mestre Boagenchi once told me that he didn't really know any Brazilian mestres outside of Brazil who are successful, who are not in a stable relationship. And he always compliments my wife. My wife loves him, and everybody knows how much I love my wife. So that stability is a very important thing, especially if you're giving people life advice or especially taking care of kids. People want to know that you're a stable marriage, and it's very important that you're in a stable relationship. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be married to the same sex, but you have to be in a stable, loving relationship. Now, that's one of the most important things that I found as an aspect of my success here in Japan, is the stability in my relationship with my wife. So that stability is the biggest significance I feel a mestre has for my community in Japan, because the parents can send their kids, and the adults also feel that I'm very stable here. No matter how crazy I get or artistic, they know I'm stable. I will be here. Now, on to the second question. The second follow-up question on this is, what is the significance to that the community is held by the mestre? So how do I hold, or what's the importance of the community to me? Guys, just being here on Patreon, you guys understand what it is. For me, to be a mestre, to be an artist, there is a feeling of whether you're being appreciated or not. And I'm sure people can say, well, you got to be mentally strong, blah, blah, blah. Look, that need that I have for appreciation is not about how I feel in a way of like, oh, I need attention. I need to be given emotional support. I need to be given financial support. It's not that. It's more about inspiration, right? Imagine when I'm doing a show with my kids and I'm watching them do everything, and I look at them and it just inspires me so much, and how beautiful it is that I've created something so amazing. But now even more, when I see the parents, or my favorite thing always is when the parents come in and they know how busy I am. They appreciate that I'm so busy and professional at what I do, that when they come, they'll even email my wife and say, hey, grandma or grandpa or their uncle or aunt or a friend is in town. They want to show capoeira, their kids doing capoeira to that person. We had 2 grandmas here the other week, and the way, that old school style of Japanese saying thank you, and they were actually very affectionate, holding my hands, and one of the grandmas hugged me, and it was just that validation, that feeling is part of how significant that love from the community is, what inspires me. When I'm tired, when I'm not sure, like, okay, what should I do next? I always find that energy, because it's my way of recharging. Just as much as my community has the stability in getting my energy, my ashen, my dedication, I have the same feeling, the reciprocal feeling of when they give me energy. When my students have had a good class, when my community is supportive, when, like, we got the big Christmas bazaar coming up, I've been promoting it a lot. My wife's been promoting it a lot. And if we get 50 people to come through the door, then it'll be an incredibly good community event. And that's one thing that I love to do. And I feel very important because I talk a lot about mental health, but here in Japan, mental health for men, women, children is really an important aspect of what I do. I'm very conscious about how important it is what I contribute here to the building of the character of the kids and creating a good environment, to the parents feeling the energy, to my adult students and their communities feeling like, wow, this is cool. This is something, good. And it's some people can be driven forward and never look to right or left and not care whether people like it or not. I generally do that, but I do like it when someone says something like when the grandmas came and they were like, thank you so much for teaching our grandchild. You're such a good teacher. We love it. Smiling, happy. The significance of the community is exactly that. It's not only the emotional support, but the emotional inspiration. When I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I'm just thinking forward. I'm going to make this video. I'm going to make this song. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But the truth of the matter is, once it's done and I'm sitting there and I'm emotionally drained from being creative, getting that recharge from the people around me, from my community, is such an important thing. And the significance of that feeling from my community, that support, is so crucial to what I do. Of course, like here on Patreon, I can't even say how lucky I feel. Like, you guys just support so much. Yesterday, one of the supporters was talking about how they only, right now things are tight. They're only doing $3 a month. And I almost started crying because I was like, at least you're doing that. I mean, that means so much to me. That's like, whether you're doing $3, $5 or $30, $50, you took the time out. And the person also mentioned that they really like the podcast. How the significance of my community to me is everything I do, everything I feel, all the love and passion and inspiration that you guys give me. I hope that answers your questions, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I know I said once a week podcast, but you guys give me too much inspiration. My community gives me too much inspiration to create. I just uploaded Brazilian percussion, Introductory to Brazilian Percussion course, lesson 3. Chimbal for samba, reggae, Olodum style. It's going to be up. It's already up today, so take a look and let's get together soon and let's groove. Guys, as always, thank you for your support. No support is too little because every person in there is part of my community. Lots of love, lots of peace, and lots of capoeira. Mestre Sukuri, Tokyo, Mestre Vibes.